So does he have a point? Are Democrats politically motivated to keep the Supreme Court seat open? Here now to debate is Democratic strategist Rochelle Ritchie and Republican strategist Nathan Sproul. Thank you both for joining us this morning. We appreciate it.
Good morning.
So, Rochelle, I'll begin with you. Your overall thoughts on yesterday, and specifically, Lindsey Graham there. I mean, you could just see the passion inside of him.
Look, I think that this was where you saw everyone very passionate about what was happening yesterday, whether it was Dr. Ford, Judge Kavanaugh, and Senator Graham. I think it's really unfortunate that Dr. Ford's story has been held for this long, which does sort of give credit to the fact that this was a politically motivated tactic in order to withhold Kavanaugh's nomination. With that said, I also think that this kind of shows a little bit about what is happening on Capitol Hill right now. There is a lot of divisiveness, whether it's on the left or whether it's on the right. And I think that for Republicans, it's about credibility. Who do you believe? Who is believable? And I think they're looking at this as a criminal hearing where it's not what you know, it's what you can prove in court. And what we saw yesterday was that Dr. Ford was not really able to, unfortunately, corroborate her story, and Judge Kavanaugh was.
Nathan, what do you think? What did you think about just the passion that went back and forth from all sides yesterday?
Oh, I think Senator Graham was exactly right. And what's interesting is on my Twitter feed, I follow a wide range of people from the crazy left to the crazy right and all points in between. And yesterday, what I saw on Twitter after Senator Graham's speech was that the mild-mannered, somewhat conservatives that I follow that rarely show any anger or any indignation were upset. They were angry. They were fired up. I think Senator Graham tapped into a nerve where a lot of Republicans for the last 10 days have thought this process is a sham, just like he said, that Judge Kavanaugh was set up, just like he said. And unfortunately, the biggest loser yesterday was the American people and the institutions that we rely on to provide good government for our country.
And the White House came out in support of Senator Graham almost immediately. The president himself, Sarah Sanders, tweeting that, Lindsey Graham has more decency and courage than every Democrat member of the committee combined. God bless him. So a lot of finger pointing at this point. But Nathan, you mentioned a good point, and I'll bring this up with you, Rochelle. The reflection on both sides of the aisle. If Democrats do succeed in delaying this confirmation vote, what precedent does that set?
I think that we've heard a lot about the fear that will this, sort of impact Supreme Court nominations from here on out. If one person is able to come forward with an allegation, would this ultimately stall our confirmation hearings of our justices? So I do think that that is certainly a concern. But I think that we do have to be concerned about the character of our justices, and that's what the Democrats are talking about. They're talking about whether or not we want a man who has been accused of sexual assault sitting on the highest bench in the nation.
Yeah, accused of sexual assault, but with no corroborating evidence to support that, including the best friend of the woman doing the accusing who says that it didn't happen. Nathan, you get the final word here.
All of the evidence is on Judge Kavanaugh's side. And as I was watching this yesterday and reading about it last night and this morning, what struck me is I have 2 daughters and 1 son, and I want my daughters to be able to grow up in a world where they don't have to fear bringing forward some type of an allegation if something horrific like this were to happen to them. But I don't want my son to have to fear that he is presumed guilty just because somebody says something with 0 corroborating evidence. And as of right now, all of the evidence is on Judge Kavanaugh's side.
Yeah, and not fear that you'll be put out for display like what has happened here with Dr. Ford and Judge Kavanaugh. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. We'll see what happens.